was watching the TV yesterday and, quite frankly, was not into the NFC game at all, even though there was an incredible story that came out of that with that third-string quarterback almost quarterbacking the Bears to a comeback. So I switched the channel and went on to CNN, and I see that there's all sorts of commotion with police cars and flashing lights in the city of Detroit. And I'm going to show you the video, but as it turns out, 4 cops were shot. Fortunately, none were killed, but one is in some serious condition, having been shot in the lower back, and they're not sure. I think they do believe he's going to live, but it was a really fucked up situation. So without any further ado, here's the news report on that, and then I got a couple of comments that I want to make on this afterwards on the other side. Okay, there are two. I have two basic thoughts. I couldn't think of the word here. I'm just saying. Sorry about that. 2 basic thoughts. Number 1, the police chief I saw, the police chief of the city of Detroit, had a press conference later on in the evening last night, and what we are going to see, of course, is reactionary measures, which is always the case in many police departments. Instead of proaction, it's always reaction. And what you're going to get and what you're going to find here is that in that particular police precinct and in the precincts of all Detroit police departments, that there are no bulletproof windows in any of the precincts. You walk in and you are amid the police department immediately. So any person off the street could walk in and start opening fire. What's ironic is that in many of the surrounding suburbs of Detroit, that you can't get anywhere near a police officer until you're buzzed in, until you meet somebody at bulletproof glass and you have ID shown and things of that nature. So the bottom line is that in the city of Detroit, because the city is distressed, because there is 20% unemployment, because the economy is as bad as it is, and because they had a mayor who was doing all sorts of crazy things for a long period of time, who is now going to prison, what you wind up is you get pussy spending and spending on useless nonsense instead of protection in the police departments, which is what is necessary in 2010. I don't care how safe you might think your town is, but you don't know what's going on the outside. They need to protect these police departments better, and they just simply don't in the city of Detroit. And what's going to wind up happening now is that you're going to hear the police chief and you're going to hear the mayor of the city of Detroit saying, we need to fortify our police departments and our precincts now, and we're going to put up bulletproof glass, we're going to buzz people in, and it's not going to be so easy for you to just walk in and approach our officers. Number 2, this is what happens when you cut police officers. When you are a big city and you take away 1/10 of your force, and I don't know the exact number in the city of Detroit, but I know there was a substantial cutback. I don't care what anybody says. When you cut your police force, you are dooming yourself for additional crime. You are dooming yourself for things like this to happen. And it's not just happening in the city of Detroit. It is happening in Camden, New Jersey, as Ivan said, because Camden, New Jersey is cut back substantially. It's happening in Newark right now, where the first week of cutbacks in police, there were 17 carjackings and 10 shootings. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And these are the places where the residents deserve better than what they're getting. The people who are law-abiding citizens who are petrified to walk out their doors because stupid, crooked politicians for decades upon decades have spent money improperly. It all caught up on them, and now they're doing the easy and convenient thing, and that's to lay off the most essential employees in an entire city. I don't care what anyone says. The most important employees in any municipality are the police and the fire departments. There are no exceptions to that rule in any municipality whatsoever. If you want to lay off people because you as a mayor or your predecessor as a mayor was incompetent and didn't know how to budget properly, you lay off your stupid secretaries who don't even type memos for you anymore because computers are voice activated now. You lay off your deputy mayors who go out and perform wedding ceremonies. You lay off your deputy mayors who appear for you at ribbon cutting ceremonies when you have somewhere else to be. You don't touch the police department. You don't mess with the fire department. And yet, for some reason, these idiots do it. They continually do it. And what do we see? 4 police officers shot in the line of duty in Detroit. 2 shot and killed in the Miami-Dade Police Department last week. 2 more shot, I'm not sure if they were killed, delivering a warrant somewhere in Florida just this morning. And we're going to see more and more and more of it. And that, my friends, is just the police officers who are being shot. We're not talking about civilians here. We're not talking about innocent people who can't walk out their door without looking over their shoulder constantly and fearing that maybe they may not be shot at, but maybe a stray bullet may come from that car that's passing them. They don't deserve to have to live in fear like that. They don't. And people like Cory Booker and Jeremiah Healy and the mayor of Detroit and the mayor of Camden, New Jersey, need to get their heads out of their asses and realize that what they are doing is not only unacceptable, it's inhumane. It should not be allowed. There should not be a circumstance under which less police officers are acceptable in anyone's mind. You cut back the non-essentials. You do not touch the essential employees. And as far as I'm concerned, any mayor who has the balls to cut police and to cut fire because they don't know what they're doing should be removed from office and should never, ever be permitted to hold any kind of elected or public official office again in their lifetime. First things first, I understand when people would say, well, what do you do about education here? Okay, here's the thing. In most municipalities, the school board is not related to, it's an autonomous body from the city council, the town council, whatever the hell you want to call it, okay? So in that regard, and in most places, a separate portion of your tax dollars go directly to the school. In this state, 25% of every dollar, 25 cents on every dollar goes directly to the Board of Education when you pay your property tax bill. Okay, and there's a separate body, the Board of Education, that runs and decides how to budget and how not to budget when it comes to the tax levy. They know how much they're going to have to deal with every year, and smart boards of education find a way to get around it. They find a way to eliminate tenure so that they can get rid of high-paid teachers who are useless and have no business being in the school system because they just happen to have a long period of time and experience. They're smart enough to know that there are a lot of ways that you can be innovative and use computers where you don't necessarily need to have 4 teachers teaching the same course when you could have one person teaching it with a computer-aided system. And that's where the thing is. I certainly would never want to see education cut from the perspective of cutbacks when there's a tough time economically. But usually, and I'm not saying all unilaterally, but usually this is a separate entity. It's a separate issue. And in this case, most mayors wouldn't have to turn around and say, well, if we're going to need to cut, we need to cut teachers or we need to cut these programs. That would be the job of a school board, more so than it would be of a mayor or a town council or a city council, whoever it works. With that said, I will say it one last time. When you cut your police department, you will see a difference. I don't care how safe your town is. But I knew once that in the 4 districts of the city of Jersey City, which is a very big city, 4 police cars out. 300,000 residents, 4 police cars out. You tell me how that makes any kind of sense in the world.